All right, guys, we're going to start soon on the program. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. Hammer that like button for us. Give it a like, give it a share. We're going to, my wife made this suggestion. I thought it was a good one. A what we learned this week type of show. She has good ideas. She has very good ideas. And we're going to kind of recap aspects, highlights of the show from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and relay them to you in a what we learned this week fashion. We're realizing daily, even more so than we already did, that so many rely on the I Love Seville network to get news, scour news. So we take that responsibility seriously, and we're going to kind of give you a recap of what's transpired on the week. Scott Aaronworth, good afternoon, my friend in Virginia Beach. We'll get a little food love for you, Scotty, that I think you're going to enjoy. Judah Wickower is part of the program today. Definitely, Scott, definitely. Very real yesterday, but very sad. The content from yesterday, Scott said as well. My wife said that as well, Scott. Such a fine line between being honest with the content and preparing folks for what's ahead. And the commentary we had yesterday about OPEC and the oil reduction, 2 million barrels a day, that is already impacting Charlottesville as we predicted. Keith Smith was walking out of the studio today and he said, did you notice that gas is up 30 cents on the gallon? 30 cents already?
Yeah.
We put the over-under at 5 for gas by the end of the year. I think it's clear it's going to be over 5. Anyway, we're going to recap what we learned this week for you, the viewers and listeners, on the Friday edition of the show. We think you're going to enjoy the broadcast quite a bit. Judah Wickower's got some ideas he wants to pass along to you. We love Judah. And the ideas he percolates and he circulates and he matriculates into the new cycle. My friend, Judah, we can rock and roll when you guys are ready. Just let us know.
Quiet on the set.
Good Friday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seville show. Thank you kindly for joining us. A pleasure to connect with you through the I Love Seville network on just a glorious Monday in Charlottesville. We're in downtown Charlottesville. Our audience is Central Virginia-wide, Commonwealth-wide, countrywide, and worldwide on the I Love Seville network, as this show airs on every social media platform known to mankind. Today's show is going to have the perspective of what we learned this week. And we've had some fantastic guests on the network and on the show. David Toscano joined us. The fabulous ladies from Anna's Pizza joined us. We had Neil Williamson on Real Talk earlier this week. Scotty Morris and Taylor Averett on Real Talk earlier this week. The Today y Mañana guys had Dino from Dino's Pizza. He's absolutely fabulous. Stephen Davis from the Community Investment Collaborative. Just fantastic stakeholders in the community. Gwendolyn Gale Cassidy says hello from Italy. So we're international today. Gwendolyn, hello and good afternoon or good morning or good evening in Italy. I'm not quite sure of the time. I love your cosmopolitan travels and love hearing where you're watching the program from. Folks in Northern Virginia, Virginia Beach, North Carolina, outside Philadelphia. I see some folks in Florida and South Carolina on the feed today. So we're going to relay to you highlights our journey this week of creating content for you and putting it on every social media platform known to mankind. We're going to talk the good, the bad, the ugly, the positive, the frank, the real. We will uplift. We will always be honest, always straight shoot, because that's the kind of advice we would want from friends and family. So as you, the viewers and listeners, become friends and family, we want to have a similar mindset and perspective for you. I'd like to go to the two shot. Scott Aaronworth has said, Judah, you've been great all week long on the talk show.
Thank you.
Let's welcome you to the program. Judah, I echo that. I think you have been absolutely fantastic this week. You know, I'm curious of your perspective. I value it so much. Sincerely mean that. I think you know that after 10 plus years. You and I are very different in personality. One of the things that I've always been appreciative of, if not, maybe jealous isn't the right word, but your even-keeledness, your level-headedness in every scenario. The thing about Judah Wickower is he's the same person every single day. He comes into the office and he's like a metronome, consistent. Like every day you are the same person. And my wife's watching the program. She would agree that's not necessarily the case for me. You know me as well as anyone on this planet, except for her and I mean, you're probably number two. I mean, our son's 4.5. There's only so much a 4.5-year-old, is comprehending at this point. I mean, we've worked alongside each other for over a decade. And you know that I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm a very passionate person, and those have some strengths and undoubted weaknesses. One of the things I admire about you is you come into work, and we work alongside each other, 45, 50 hours a week probably?
Yeah. Give or take.
Yeah, give or take.
By the time you're out of the office.
Yeah, each week is different, right? So it's easy to be around. It's not easy to be around someone like me all the time. I know that. But it is easy to be around someone like you.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, maybe it's me interviewing you today in some ways, the responsibility of creating content like we're creating for an audience like we have is something that I know you don't take lightly either.
Yeah.
How do you balance, or how should we balance the stark reality with the responsibility of informing, uplifting, and being one of the voices, if not the most ubiquitous voice of the community?
How do we balance it? I mean, I think we pick and choose our stories. I mean, obviously we don't cover everything. We steer clear of certain things. I mean, we don't generally pick up topics on serious race issues. We don't really talk about anything dealing with women's reproductive rights. And maybe that's because of our sex and skin color, that we know that those aren't necessarily topics that that our side of the story needs to be told to our viewers. I think in terms of good news, bad news, stuff going on in the economy, I mean, I think it's a tough line to toe. We've got clients in various industries. We don't want to badmouth their industries, but at the same time, we want people to be aware of what's going on in the world today. I mean, I see some serious problems coming down the pike, and you can call me bearish, but I would rather people have as much information as we can provide them.
Be prepared.
Yeah, rather than have some of the stuff hit and people be unprepared and get hurt by it. And again, it's a tough line to
straddle.
Yeah.
Manage.
Because of course we're not despite the fact that we do have crystal balls here in the studio, we are not actually future. We can't predict the future. We don't know what's going to happen. We can look at what's in the cards, but it's still a matter of interpretation.
Stephanie Rhodes watching the program. She's of the Interstate Service Company family. She's also doing amazing things for realtors as a team member at American Pest. Stephanie Wells Rhodes says, "No fake news." That's the best part of your show.
Yeah, I agree with that for the most part, and that's definitely something that I think when I've given you pushback on things, it's for me, it's and I've mentioned this to some of our viewers in comments. I may take stands that I don't necessarily agree with. I may ask questions, and for the most part, I'm just looking for more information because obviously, the more information we have, the better we can inform our viewers, and the better we can try to interpret the stuff that comes across our desks.
Yeah. So Gwendolyn Gale Cassidy is watching in Italy, and she says it's evening here. She says you guys balance the content well. She also says perhaps you integrate a female perspective more into the talk show.
Yeah.
Very open-minded to that.
Definitely.
Very open-minded to integrating a female perspective more into the talk show. And it's a conversation I've had with my wife who's watching the show. She's got a very fantastic perspective and is unafraid, unabashed to hold me accountable, which is one of the reasons I think we work well together. I'm, often very alpha and intense or high energy with my personality. To have a better half like her who is willing to push back when necessary in the moment may frustrate me, but in the grand scheme of things is necessary. I think you, in a lot of ways, go about it in different ways than her, but offer the same pushback. And that's when you know you have a good team, the yin to the yang, and it works well. I think our clients, and some of them are watching now, understand that they can count on us for honesty and reliability and getting the job done and giving them the best advice no matter the circumstance, and even if it may ruffle or hurt feathers or be not what they want to hear. Like, we're not yes people.
Right.
We shoot folks straight. And to Stephanie's point, the no fake news, she's exactly right. Like, I've been self-employed for almost 15 years. I've been in the Charlottesville and Central Virginia community for 22 years plus. I came here as a first year at the University of Virginia, Dabney 101 old dorms. Me and my buddy Shannon, roommates in Dabney 101 old dorms. From Dabney, went to Lambeth Commons. That's student housing on grounds, kind of across the street where the John Paul Jones Arena was my second year. Then my third year, I lived in the fraternity house, Phi Kappa Psi. Then fourth year, lived off grounds, kind of across from John Street. Is that 10th Street? I always forget the name of that one. Let me confirm. I think it's 10th Street, maybe 14th Street. Anyway, like I've grown up here. Like, more than half my life has been spent here. Like, matured from a teenager, first year, 18, into, a man and like a business owner, then a husband and a father of one, and now a father of two. Mm-hmm. Turkey Day, number 2 on the horizon, our second son. Like, it's shaped who we are. And I want to highlight some of the topics we've covered this week. Like, take the city council topic that we reported on earlier this week. where we discussed who was running and who was not running.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we highlighted on the show that Zy Bryant, who is a activist in the community and an organizer in this community, we highlighted the fact that she's not running.
Yeah.
That ruffled people and feathers on Twitter and on Reddit.
I think it may have been something specific that ruffled their feathers, but
Yeah, I asked her about her home that she owns as a UVA student.
mm-hmm.
I think it's important with how vulnerable I'm noticing the economy is here in Charlottesville to ask real and tough questions. We learned on Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning that this 245 unit apartment complex that's coming on the Rivanna River behind Cosner Brothers,
Yeah.
this has been in the works for years. And no one's really covered it until Sean Tubbs broke the news a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now there's so many families in the High Street area on both sides of East High Street that are frustrated, they're angry, they're concerned, they're galvanizing, they're organizing. But as Keith explained and as Neil explained, this is a by right development, and it's land owned by Wendell Wood, one of the most powerful people in the community. He owns United Land Company. You see those signs all the way down Route 29 north? That's Wendell. Wendell's Barracks Road Shopping Center. Wendell's Fashion Square Mall. Wendell's the Target across from Forest Lakes. Wendell's owned this land since 1981.
Damn.
And a man with deep pockets, money, and vision has hired the best engineering firm, some would say, Chimp Engineering, to take a piece of property that's in a floodplain and make it a reality with 3 apartment towers and 245 units. I live in eastern Albemarle County. I drive down Pantops every day. Yeah, I'd say every day. If you live in eastern Albemarle County in the Keswick area,
How can you avoid it?
you have to drive down Pantops every day.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in that area from an amenity standpoint. Stephanie's watching the program. We've had this conversation before. If you want a gallon of milk or if you want some groceries, you got to go down Pantops.
Yeah. Charlottesville and Albemarle were not built with ease of getting from one place to another in mind.
Right. That's why I was such a huge proponent and spoke before the Board of Supervisors of the Tiger Fuel, like the market at Tiger Fuel that they were trying to bring to Black Cat Road.
Yeah.
I still hear, percolations and scuttlebutt that may happen. But the Keswick area, one of the reasons we live there is because of the beauty of God's country. It's green, it's gorgeous, it's untouched, it's quiet. It's God's country. It's God's country. But there's not much from an amenities standpoint, especially if you need perishable goods.
Not much, I think, is an overstatement.
Right. I have to go to
Or an understatement.
the Giant. Maybe for certain things I can find it at the Legacy Market, the gas station. But I'm hesitant to buy perishable goods there.
Yeah.
So every day, basically, my wife and I drive down Pantops Free Bridge to go to Giant, to go to the downtown mall, to go somewhere here.
Yeah.
So where we're going with this is 245 apartment units behind Cosner Brothers is undoubtedly going to impact us. Will it impact us at the same clip or frequency or significance that the young families that live in that area? No, absolutely not. You're going to have heavy equipment, heavy machinery, dump trucks and bulldozers, pickup trucks, scaffolding, all those cool things my son loves to play with, those toys, the heavy machinery toys, literally going down East High Street to build apartment towers.
Right. And that's before the hundreds of people actually get to move in there.
That's before the 1,500 vehicles that they're projecting will be driving down High Street for these apartments.
Yeah, every day.
Every day. I got a question for you guys, and it's a fair question. What happens with the folks on High Street that have had businesses for generations? What happens to the Riverside during this time? What happens to our friends at Fabio's during this time? What happens to our friends at Jack and Jill's and Tubby's and La Michoacana?
Well,
Charlottesville Glass and Mirror, Cosner.
They could end up seeing a giant boom in business after the apartments are built and they have a whole new slew of a giant new customer base.
But do you actually think that'll be the case?
Why not? I mean, I get that they're going to have some trouble during the construction period.
Yeah. How do they make it from through the construction period?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how do they make it through that?
I mean, I would need to see how they're planning on getting all the stuff in there, how they're planning on how it's going to affect them. I mean,
what did Keith say this morning? He goes, the other side is a river. You can't enter that way.
I don't know.
You got one entry point, Cosner Brothers, to build it. And as we said on the talk show this morning, the Cosner family, they own most of East High Street. A lot of East High Street, I should say. They got a lot of leverage here. So what did I learn this week? To start, and we'll give you a lot of topics. Here's what I learned this week. Who you elect into office really matters. Because the elected officials in the city of Charlottesville City Council, they're picking the city manager. And the city manager is the man or the woman that really runs a 10.2 square mile city. And we have had a turnstile for a city manager. We've had so many of them. Mike Murphy, Maurice Jones, Dr. Richardson. Chip's been an interim city manager. Chip Boyles. John Blair was an interim city manager. Michael Rogers is a city manager right now. He's a consultant for the Robert Bob Group. We got to vote into office people that we think can not just win one election cycle, but potentially 2 or 3. Because those individuals are picking the people that sit in City Hall that run the municipality. Can you imagine if we had a city manager in place that had decades of institutional memory? Maybe that city manager brings to folks' attention that, hey, this project on the Rivanna River could go by right. And Wendell Wood owns the land, and he likes to create a return on investment with his property just like any landowner would. Perhaps us as the city of Charlottesville should plan accordingly to Wendell Wood owning this land. And maybe we start planning accordingly by building sidewalk cohesion along High Street so the families can get to and from where they want to go, pushing their strollers with the kids inside the strollers. Perhaps we should consider purchasing the property on High Street as it becomes available from a for sale standpoint. Because we may need to own this property should Mr. Wood bring 3 apartment towers, 245 units, and 1,500 vehicles of traffic every day. But what's happening now is such a meager percentage of the community is voting for local government. A meager percentage of the community. If you look at the turnout for local elections, you would be hard-pressed to even get 40% of the community voting for Charlottesville City Council. And the really crazy thing about this is the people we elect in Charlottesville determine our sidewalks, our traffic, our development, our economic development, the support they give small businesses, the real estate tax rate increase, gentrification, the meals tax, the lodging tax, what's going to happen with the Dewberry Hotel, and projects along the Rivanna River. Who can name the last city councilor who's had multiple terms on council in Charlottesville? Viewers and listeners, I'm asking you that question. Who can name the last city councilor who's had multiple terms on council? Anyone? Put it in the feed. Do you know, Judah?
No.
Juan Sarmiento, the king of transportation, watching the program. He's the head technician for the Charlottesville Albemarle Transit busing and automobile fleet. He says, Lloyd Snook, I love when you watch and comment on the program. Mayor Snook is in his first term. He has not had multiple terms. Thank you for offering that answer, though. Do you know, you follow this pretty darn closely. Can viewers and listeners name the last person who has had multiple terms on council, city council?
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if I can come up with the name.
Anyone. I'll give you guys a chance. Kevin Yancey. Scott Aaronworth. Gwendolyn. More than one term. Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach, Mayor Walker. I have the answer for you guys. Mayor Walker only served one term on council. She served as mayor back to back. When you're on council, you pick a mayor, the 5 councilors, pick a mayor to serve every 2 years. Mayor Walker got the first 2 years and then got picked again for her second 2 years. Kathy Galvin is the answer. Kathleen Galvin. Galvin was first elected to a 4-year term on Charlottesville Council 2012-2013. Kathy Galvin was on Charlottesville City Council for multiple terms. Before Kathy Galvin, who can name the last person to serve multiple terms on council? I don't have that answer.
I'm looking at the
Kathy Galvin served
list of
multiple
members.
terms. So that's the answer to my first question. I don't have the answer to this question, viewers and listeners. What human being prior to Kathy Galvin served multiple terms on Charlottesville City Council? Do you have that answer with some research, some Google?
Yeah, I think it's Kristen Zakos.
Okay, how many terms? 2?
Looks like 2, 2010 to 2018.
Okay, so two terms. Who before her? Zakos was 2010 to 2018, J-Dubs?
Yep. And
Okay.
looks like before that it was Satyendra Huja,
Huja's great. What terms?
08 to 16.
Okay,
And mayor from 12 to 16.
okay. Anybody else before Huja? I think Toscano served multiple terms on council.
Dave Norris was 06 to 14, mayor from 08 to 12.
Okay, Norris got 2, friend of the program.
David Brown was 04 to 2012.
Okay,
Kevin Lynch, 2000 to 2008. Blake Caravati, 98 to 06. Meredith Richards, 96 to 04. Maurice Cox, 96 to 04.
love it.
Virginia Doherty, 92 to 00.
Love it.
Toscano.
David Toscano, friend of the program on the show on Wednesday. Go ahead.
90 to 2002.
What was Toscano?
90 to 2002.
Okay.
Mayor from 94.
So that's 3 terms for Toscano.
96. Yeah.
Each term is 4 years. I want to ask you this question, okay? Now that you have this in front of you, viewers and listeners, we're dropping some knowledge here for you, okay? Who has served multiple terms on council in the last 3 election cycles?
Last 3.
Kathy Galvin, friend of the program.
Yeah.
She's 1.
Zakos.
Zakos was when? Zakos.
Aren't the...
What was Zakos' terms?
She was 10 to 18.
Okay, so 10 to 18 is the last 3 election cycles. So on the last 3 and Norris was?
Norris was 06 to 14.
Okay, so back end of Norris. In the last 3 election cycles, you've had 2 individuals elected
That had any kind of institutional memory?
that have any kind of institutional memory.
Yeah, I'm looking at...
There's my point.
I'm looking at the beginning of the 90s. We've got, a bunch of people.
In the last decade, you've had 2 people.
And a lot of them were mayors.
Galvin was never a mayor.
No, I mean, looking at the end of the 90s.
Well, that would make sense. If you're a multiple term candidate, if you're a multiple term on council, you're gonna.
Yeah.
Because you got the institutional memory.
Yeah. But there's, Alvin Edwards, 88 to 96, mayor 90 to 92. Tom Van Dever, 88 to 96, mayor 92 to 94. Kay Slaughter, 90 to 98, mayor 96 to 98. Toscano, 90 to 2002, mayor from 94 to 96. Virginia Doherty, 92 to 2000, mayor from 98 to 2000. Maurice Cox, 96 to 2004, mayor from 2002 to 2004. Those are like one after another, and then we've got some pretty big gaps. So,
what does that tell you?
I don't know. It tells me that maybe people aren't happy with the council members we had. I don't know.
Does it tell you maybe we're voting the wrong people?
Could be.
Does it tell you maybe in the last decade, in the last 10 years, there's been 2 people that have served multiple terms on council?
Yeah.
If you don't have people capable or able of serving multiple terms on council, when you go to the voter's box and you vote their name, are you choosing the right people?
I think it's a problem we're coming across all over the United States.
100%.
Where we're getting so politically divided, or at least I think the most vocal of voices are far, far, far across the political divide. Whereas
they're radicals.
Whereas so many of us
are in the middle.
Fall somewhere in the middle.
100%.
The voices that get heard the most are the far, far left and far, far right, and when they're the ones that are leading the narrative, you end up with people getting, I think, elected across the U.S. who are either part of one of those far sides, or they get voted out pretty quickly because the voice on the opposite side just pounds them and nails them with whatever, whether it's BS or not, and ewiventually they get smeared.
They run out of burn rate.
Yeah.
They run out of human equity.
Yeah.
They run out of goodwill. Judah Wickhauer. There it is. There it is. He said it perfectly. Give Judah Wickhauer some props. You got a project on East High Street. It's 245 apartment units in a floodplain by a river on one of the most bottlenecked intersections in town already.
Yeah.
That has terrible sidewalks, is 2 lanes, feeds into Freebridge and Pantops. That's a nightmare at drive-in and drive-out time. This project has been in the works for years. If it wasn't for an enterprising reporter named Sean Tubbs, we wouldn't have even known about this as a community. Still, it happened 2 weeks ago when we found out. Not even 2 weeks ago. Wendell Wood, one of those powerful people in the community, one of the most wealthy people in the community, the man whose house is atop the mountain next to Carter's Mountain. That's Wendell Wood's house. A man who made Barracks Road and Fashion Square Mall and Forest Lakes, the Target Center across from Forest Lakes, a reality. He's been on the DL, and maybe DL is not the right word. I don't want to utilize DL like he's been doing this
right.
like...
in a sneaky, shady way.
In a sneaky or shady way, right. It's not up to the landowner to announce to everybody his plans. He has rights. Wendell Wood has rights, and he doesn't have to get on the talk show or use a megaphone and say, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
He doesn't have to do that. But for years, this dude's been doing this. He hired an engineering firm that is one of the best in the community at doing this. Justin Schimpf. We don't always see eye to eye. He's got beef with me from time to time, but I'm giving you some props. And now the community is in a ruckus. The point of this is here's the point. Electing people for local government that are activists, there's a place for them in every community. 100%. But not in positions of elected officials. Because as Judah Wickhauer just pointed out so eloquently and clearly and succinctly, they run out of burn rate and goodwill. And once they run out of burn rate and goodwill and community equity, they don't get a chance to run again. Or if they consider running again, they won't win. What you need is the centered.
Yeah.
The middle of the road. The ones that are background.
Yeah, and it's almost a cliche, but it's the person that doesn't want the job that is probably probably the best suited to the job.
100%.
I mean, take a look at Youngkin. I really don't like the guy.
You're talking Youngkin, the governor.
Yeah, and he's obviously a career politician. He wants the job. Not only does he want the job, he wants another job, which he's probably campaigning for right now. And fortunately, I think often those people move out of local politics. And I would much rather have, the person that doesn't want the job but will do a damn good job at it if elected to the job.
There you go. I'll get to comments. Vanessa Parkhill in Earlysville, I'll get to your comment. Carol Thorpe, we'll get to your comments. Queen of Jack Jewett. The reason this project on High Street has become a reality, and it's literally happened under our noses, is because we don't have institutional memory in government locally. We've had a revolving door with our city manager, Mike Murphy, Maurice Jones, Chip Boyles, John Blair, Dr. Terrion Richardson, Michael Rogers. It's a revolving door. When the CEO of the city manager, can't stay on the job for an extended period of time. Now, Maurice Jones did stay for an extended period of time. He's the last city manager with any kind of long-term tenure. See Maurice Jones, what years he was the city manager, please. He's now the city manager of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Former NBC 29 sports broadcaster. I was a one-time sports broadcaster at NBC 29. If your leadership doesn't stay in place for long periods of time, then you can't prepare for developments like High Street.
Wow.
Maurice Jones was in there for how long?
7.5 years. December 6, 2010 to July 31st, 2018.
2018. 7.5 years for city manager is like 3 decades for most other jobs, especially in a town like Charlottesville.
Especially in Charlottesville.
Especially in Charlottesville. Especially in Charlottesville. 7.5 years is 3 decades as an accountant, an attorney, and a banker. It's an eternity. I don't blame Wendell Wood. I don't blame the company that's developing Wendell Wood's land. I don't blame the zoning. I don't blame the floodplain. I don't blame the 3 apartment towers. I don't blame the city residents on High Street, around High Street, for not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
You know who I do blame?
Yeah, city council.
Can't even blame them.
Because they haven't been around long enough?
Who do you blame? Viewers and listeners, where does the blame fall?
Is blame necessary?
Where does the accountability fall? Accountability is a better word.
Yeah.
Where does the accountability fall, viewers and listeners? You don't want to hear this. You want to know where the accountability falls?
Us.
On us. It falls on us. It falls on Judah and Jerry. It falls on everyone that's listening to this program that voted people into office. And voted folks into office that didn't have the capital or the burn rate, the vision, the longevity, the neutralness, the centeredness, the ideology of being able to maintain multiple terms in office. We're voting into office caricatures.
In some cases, yeah.
Federal, state, local. Look at Bob Good.
Ugh, I'd rather not.
Look at presidents.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
We voted into office a governor that's as wealthy as most people, as anybody in the Commonwealth, that campaigned on a neutral platform, a centered platform.
Is this Youngkin? He campaigned as a
centered, lower C conservative.
Really?
Small C conservative.
Yeah.
Northern Virginia, he distanced himself from Trump, tried to appeal to soccer moms. First thing he did when he went into office was what? Mandates.
Yep.
Mandates. January started out of the gates. Mandates. 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 The antithesis of his campaign.
Yeah.
We hold us accountable. And we don't start realizing that, we're going to have a lot more 245-unit apartment complexes in a bottleneck. One of the most important areas or corridors of traffic in Charlottesville and Albemarle County is Free Bridge, High Street, Downtown Mall. One of the most important.
Mm-hmm.
We have no one else to blame or hold accountable besides ourselves. And I encourage anyone that's watching this program to start thinking in the voter box neutrality, centeredness, common sense.
Yeah.
Vanessa makes a point. She's the queen of Earlysville. How often do we have choices here in Charlottesville and Albemarle County? When is the last time a conservative or Republican ran for city council in Charlottesville?
Yeah.
Charlottesville residents get to choose from center, left to socialist candidates. While that may be representative of the majority, that cannot represent every viewpoint in the city. Too often people vote personality over policy. I'm going to say this, and she's right about ideology in the community. I'm going to do this. 2019 Charlottesville City Council election results. That's what I'm Googling. You too, Judah. 2019 Charlottesville City Council election results. I'm calling it up. I got it. The election results. Tell me if you need me to send them to you. I can DM you if you want.
Is it results.elections.virginia.gov?
Yeah. Scroll down to City Council.
Let's see. All right.
Let's go over the results. Ready?
Yep.
There were 3 spots open on council for this particular race.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it was a 4-person race. It was McGill, Payne, Snook,
And they got
and Bellamy Brown. The number 1 vote getter in the 2019 race in the general election was Sina McGill. Don't tell the viewers and listeners how many votes. We have it in front of us. Sina McGill was the number 1 vote getter in the 2019 general election, Charlottesville City Council. Viewers and listeners.
frankly is pretty surprising to me.
How many votes do you think the number 1 vote getter in the 2019 general election race got? How many votes do you think the number one getter was Sina McGill? How many votes do you think Sina McGill got in 2019, the number 1? Someone put it in the feed. Just guess, okay? No big deal if you get it wrong. Just for the sake of a talk show, just guess. Guesses are coming in. Spencer says 16,000. Grayson says, I have no idea, but I'm going to say close to 20,000 votes. Brian's putting in the feed. 23,000. Kevin Yancey says 500. Scott Aaronworth says 2,800 in Virginia Beach. Gwendolyn Gale Cassidy says 8,400. She says the exact number. She got it right.
Yeah.
Sina McGill.
She must have looked.
Sina McGill got 8,438 votes in the general election in the 2019 City Council race. Second place was Lloyd Snook, 8,151, Michael Payne, 7,833. Those were your top vote getters. The city of Charlottesville in totality is roughly 50,000 people. Remember, you can vote for more than one candidate in this election. So if you're going to vote for the Charlottesville City Council race, you are likely voting 3 people because there's 3 spots open.
Yeah.
So when Sina McGill and Michael Payne and Lloyd Snook are separated by a grand total of...
Well, you might as well just call their average.
Which is probably Snook's total, 8,151.
You may as well call that how many people basically voted in the election.
There's my point. Say it again.
If you've got
There it is.
8,000 people out of, what did you say, 50,000?
Yeah.
Voting for your city council?
Granted, some of those are children. Some of the residents are under 18 and can't vote.
Yeah. The point
You had
still stands.
8,000 people vote in the 2019 general election.
I wish I could have voted. I think it's a travesty that Bellamy is not on the city council. But that's just my personal opinion.
Someone tell Bellamy Brown, who's watching the program. Bellamy Brown, you watching? B squared? Bellamy? Love you, Bellamy Brown. Is Bellamy Brown watching? Someone tag Bellamy Brown. Someone text Bellamy Brown. Someone text Bellamy Brown. B squared, you watching this program, B squared? I love Bellamy Brown.
Yeah.
Sensible and centered.
Mm-hmm.
Economic development focused.
Yeah.
Grew up in the area, understands the concept of gentrification and how rising taxes will gentrify impoverished individuals and folks on a fixed income out of the area. Bellamy Brown, huge fan of B squared.
Yeah, so am I.
8,000 people. Where does the accountability lie? Look at yourself in the mirror. Me included, Judah included.
Except we didn't live in Charlottesville. But
Albemarle County is worse.
The point still stands.
Dude, Albemarle County is larger than Charlottesville. You should look up the election results. You want to hear something freaking crazy? Want to hear something crazy? Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. 6 people determine a $400+ million budget. Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. No, you don't even have to look this up. It's even worse in Albemarle County. You know why it's worse in Albemarle County? In 2019, there were 3 spots open for the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. 3 spots open.
And they stayed the same?
No one ran against Diantha McKeel. No one ran against Ned Galloway. And no one ran against Jim Andrews. Mm-hmm. So it didn't even matter who went to vote. As long as Jim Andrews, Diantha McKeel, and Ned Galloway went to the voters box and voted for themselves, all they needed was 1 vote and they would have been on the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
6 people determined a $400+ million budget. What's the population of Albemarle County? Albemarle County's population. I'm looking it up right now.
108, almost 109,000.
Almost 109,000 people in Albemarle County. Almost 109,000 people. And in the last election in 2019, 3 people ran completely unopposed. If no one had voted in that election and Jim Andrews, Diantha McKeel, and Ned Galloway had voted for themselves, they would have been on the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
Is that your county?
I'm in.
Is that my county?
I believe so.
Who do we hold accountable? Ourselves.
I mean, who do you hold accountable when nobody's?
Ourselves.
Because we didn't oppose them.
There you go.
I'm not. I'm not.
There you go.
I'm not running for council.
There you go. Ourselves. Okay. It's ourselves. We have no one else to blame but ourselves. Oh, Vanessa Parkhill, Queen of Earlysville. I see a lack of participation in state and local elections as a failure of education. Too many people don't realize the impact of those elections on their day-to-day life, or maybe they don't like any of the choices, so they stay home. Excellent comment. Carol Thorpe, Queen of Jack Jewett. I'm happy to say I've got clean hands when it comes to Charlottesville City Council. Full disclosure, I have lived 2 miles outside of city limits since moving to the area 27 years ago this month. But if I had lived there, only Rob Schilling would have gotten my vote. Kevin Yancey, Waynesboro, complacency. How far do you live over the city-county line?
Probably feet.
Yeah.
Let me.
Less than half a mile?
Let's see.
Less than half a mile. You can make a legitimate argument where you live, and I'm not going to blow up your spot where you live, okay?
I don't care. I mean,
I'm not going to blow up your spot where you live. A lot of folks watching right now.
Stonehenge. I'm looking at the map right now. I'm definitely not giving out my actual address, but
I would not do that. Trust me, from firsthand perspective.
It almost looks like we were drawn out. It literally goes like here's Stonehenge, and the line is like this, and it's like there's a big chunk taken out of Charlottesville where Stonehenge is.
you can make a legitimate argument that what happens in City of Charlottesville government impacts you as an Albemarle County resident more than policy in Albemarle County impacts you as an Albemarle County resident. I will say that again. I can make a legitimate argument where Judah Whitcara lives feet away from the Charlottesville city line, feet away from being a resident in Charlottesville city, that I was going to use a profanity. I stopped and chose my words carefully. The stuff that happens in Charlottesville city impacts you as an Albemarle County resident more than the policy initiated at the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County impacts you as an Albemarle County resident.
No doubt.
And let's take it a step further. We were applying this when it comes to High Street, right? Look at where the High Street, look at where the City of Charlottesville line and the Albemarle County line is with Freebridge in Albemarle County.
Say that again?
High Street, where this apartment development is happening, is the City of Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Find the Albemarle County City of Charlottesville line with Freebridge.
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure that line is at the base of Freebridge. Kevin Yancey, can you help me with that? Lauren, can you help me with that? Stephanie, can you help me with that? Anyone watching this program, can you help me with that? Isn't the Albemarle County City of Charlottesville line at the base of Freebridge? Kevin, is it the base of Freebridge?
Let's see. It is.
Isn't the Welcome to Charlottesville sign at the base of Freebridge when you're coming down Pantops?
It is, yeah, I think it's like right across the street from the CVS.
Kevin Yancey says the line is the river.
Yeah, the line is the river.
The line is the river, right? Kevin Yancey, you're a smart dude. Mr. King of Waynesboro. Okay, so let's take this scenario, okay? All right? It's the western edge of the bridge. Kevin Yancey's given us the exact thing. Let's take this scenario, okay? And let's take a really deep dive on this, okay? You have a 245-unit apartment complex that's by right, that's been percolating for years, that we've already highlighted is happening because of a lack of institutional memory in Charlottesville City Council. We do not have multi-term candidates anymore. In fact, over the last decade, there's only been two, Zakos and Galvin. There hasn't been, I think Mayor Snook, and my fingers are crossed because I'm a huge Lloyd Snook fan, could be a multi-term candidate. I really think Mayor Snook can be a multi-term candidate.
Yeah.
I'm a big Lloyd Snook fan.
I think he's got the potential if he decides he wants to keep it up.
The 245-unit apartment complex, while it will have a catastrophic potential impact on the High Street neighborhood in the city of Charlottesville, you can make a legitimate argument that this City of Charlottesville project will have an even greater impact to Albemarle County residents than City of Charlottesville residents.
You're saying people driving into the city,
Yes.
trying to get to
Epicenter of
points
employment,
downtown?
University of Virginia,
Yeah.
downtown. Do you see what I'm saying? Albemarle County residents that say, hey, this is a City of Charlottesville problem, it doesn't impact me. I just gave you a case study of how that is not the case. We are electing caricatures that have no chances of multi-year terms. And as a result, there's no institutional memory. As a result, there's no infrastructure preparation for 245-unit complexes. And as a result, residents in both the city and the county are impacted by it. This will impact more county residents than it does city residents. So we cannot say as county residents, we do not have to follow what's happening in Charlottesville City, nor do we have to participate or stay engaged. Oh. What happens at the local level what happens at the local level has a greater impact than Commonwealth or federal level. Kevin, you can't look at total votes because one person can vote for more than one person at a time.
Yeah.
You can't look at total votes. You can't just add up Cena's total, Michael's total, Lloyd's total, John Edward Hall's total, Paul Edward Long's total, Bellamy's total, and Wright-in total, because one person can vote up to 3 people. All right. That's today's show. This is what I learned this week. Again. This is what I learned this week again. Elections matter. This is what I learned this week again. The county of Albemarle has a population of 110,000 people, and in the 2019 election, 3 people, Jim Andrews, Diantha McKeel, Ned Galloway, all ran unopposed. This is what I learned this week again. If Supervisors Galloway, McKeel, and Andrews had voted for themselves and no one else had voted for them, they would be on the Board of Supervisors anyway, and they would be allocating a $400+ million budget. This is what I learned this week again. That if we do not support businesses like Anna's Pizza No. 5 that's been around for 46 years, they will close. And they're closing December 18th. And I applaud these ladies for 46 years of success, hard work, and effort. But it saddens me to see a business like this close. The first place I ever ate in my life in the city of Charlottesville was as a kid when my dad took my family to this community and we had pizza pie in a dining room that has not changed since I was 12 years old to where I am now, a 41-year-old man. This is what I learned this week again. That institutions like David Toscano, who were able to serve 3 terms on council, maybe that could be a thing of the past. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
This is what I learned this week again. That OPEC reducing 2 million barrels of oil every day is going to dramatically impact Charlottesville. Overnight, the price of gas has gone up 30 cents in our backyard. This is what I learned this week again. Charlottesville City Council, Charlottesville City has given bus drivers a 12% increase in pay. They're now making $21 an hour. That's more than Albemarle County bus drivers who are making $16, $17 an hour. Still, a CDL driver is few and far between in this country, and CDL drivers could drive heavy equipment and tractor trailers and make 3 or 4x the $21 an hour the bus drivers are making in Charlottesville. Does anyone think the 12% increase that the city bus drivers just got through collective bargaining or through Charlottesville local government will move the needle at all? No, it won't. It's a political play and a political ploy. And this is what I learned this week again. That if this community and all of us don't start holding each other accountable and start saying, hey, you better follow what's happening in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, and hey, it's a news desert now because the newspaper is a shadow of its former self, the TV stations are hiring 22-year-olds and they're staying for 18 months before they jump to larger markets. If you don't start reading Neil Williamson and Sean Tubbs or listening to the I Love Seville Network, you're not going to know what's going on in this community because Sean Tubbs, Neil Williamson, and the I Love Seville Network, they don't plan to go anywhere. They're going to be here for decades, if not a lifetime, if not their children staying here and raising their children's children. That if you don't stay informed and you don't stay engaged, you're going to have, surprise, 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 245 apartments coming to a bottleneck. And this is what I learned this week again, that this community and this town and this jurisdiction and this region I love dearly, 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 and you guys love dearly, 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 there's amazing people here. Amazing Judah Wickhowers here. Amazing Stephanie Rhodes here. Amazing Carol Thorpe's here. Amazing Kevin Yancey's here. Amazing Gwendolyn Gale Cassidy's here. Amazing Vanessa Parkhill's here. Amazing Kevin Higgins here. Amazing Travis Hackworth, although he lives in Danville, so he can't be included in this. There's amazing people here. We have to stand up and rise and choose to run and get engaged and be civically minded and responsible. We have to. We have to. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility. For Judah Wickower, I'm Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show on a Friday. So long, everybody.